Hello and good evening. It's 6:30 and it's time for Trisha time. Thrifty Thursday even, Trisha time. Now usually on a Thrifty Thursday I do a fabric sale, but we did one last week and, or did we? Yeah, we probably did. Yes, I think we did. And I won't have time to post anything out next week. So I decided we were going to do a pouch today. So I'll do a little demo instead, and I will give you measurements as we go along. I haven't got time to do a PDF or anything like that. So if you want to get your pen and paper ready so that when I tell you the measurements, you'll be able to follow when you're making one yourself. Hello Jill, lovely to see you this evening. And I can see quite a few of you are watching. Hello Patricia, and hello Lindsay, and hello Maria. Evening to everyone, she says. Now it's getting colder, isn't it? Hello Sarah. So I've just put the heating on, and actually I can feel it from here. Evening Christine. Did I miss somebody there? No, I didn't. That's all right. And hello Barbara. Sorry Barbara, I haven't emailed back to you, but I've been busy all day today as well. But I don't think there was anything it was just nicely. Hello Dorothy, and hello Heather, and hello Linda, and hello Shirley, and Diane, and Patricia, and Gita. Gosh, it is lovely to have you all here tonight. Yes, yet again. Hello Eileen, lovely to see, and Tony, hopes we're all well. And hello Alison and Sharon. Gosh, yes. So I'm well at the minute. I feel a little bit, I've sneezed a few times today. Hello Sharon. Hello Margaret. Hope you're well too. And hello Christine. So I hope I'm not going down with anything. I shouldn't imagine so. Hello Lorna. Hello Pamela. Good evening to you. Yes, so I feel fine. But you know when you sneeze, you think, hello Louise. You think, oh, what's going on? So, yes, today, just do a little brief, and hello Beverly. I had the fabric rep come, didn't I? And yes, one of the things that I have just had to order, didn't I? Martin said, oh, I suppose, hello Ellen, hello Jean. I suppose you ordered something. Well, it would be very rude not to, wouldn't it? And it's the one I was telling you about from Stoff Fabrics. And boy, they have got some lovely fabrics. Now, I didn't go mad. And he's coming back to me with what stock there is of certain ones. So K Facet, in a small way, is on the agenda, but I've got to see what he's got in stock. Otherwise, it was pre-ordering for next year. And I will if I love anything enough. But otherwise, we'll just wait and see until they've got some stock, and I'll choose from stock. Hello Janet. But yes, what he had got, and I'm really excited, and I've asked him, it's not really that exciting, but I've asked him if he can dispatch that as soon as. He has got some special bag wadding, and boy did it feel good. Quick check-in. Hello Janet, lovely to see you. So this bag wadding is different from what I have now. So, you know, I have between the Thermolam, which gives some body, but it's still got a nice soft feel to it. And I have the Styleville, which gives a lot of body, you know, spongy, the foamy one, which gives a lot of structure, which is great. Bag wadding, yes. But this one is like in between. It's, so it doesn't, well, I was going to say it's thin. It's not that thin. It looks like a wadding, but it's not as thick as Styleville. But what would I say? Is it probably the same thickness as Thermolam, but it has got more body, and I think it is going to give really good shape and body and easy to stitch through as well. So I have got a lot coming. Hello, Bev. Lovely to see you this evening. Yeah, sounds ridiculous, but I thought, let's go for this because it's different. I haven't seen it available anywhere else either, but it's really good, really good. So pleased with that. I have ordered a little bit more Christmas fabric, and it's the Stoff Christmas fabric, and it is rather nice. I have ordered some linen and linen cotton, so 50%. Hi Linda, you just remembered, which is really rather nice. I'm trying to think ahead a little bit and perhaps bring back some bags that I made with linen cotton from Makawa a couple of years ago to make life easier for me. Hello Sandra. Sandra saying hello to everyone, because I get my own faults, but I like to do different things. And this particular show coming up on Sunday, or the two shows. Hello, Diane. I shouldn't have done so many new products, because it just means I have to sew. And as you know, last week, a day didn't go by. I was just sewing all day long. Lovely, but yes, absolutely, Barbara. Yes. So, as I say, I've ordered a lot. But, and I hope it is really as good as I think it is. Obviously, I felt a sample, and it feels good, really does. So we shall see. So I'm hoping that will be here sometime next week. So as long as I get the chance, next week will be, well, hoping that the shows go well and that I've got a few orders to make up and get out. I may not be able to, I'll say now, I may not be able to do every day of a Facebook Live, but I will see how we go. And obviously when I do get the chance, I will show you the wadding too. I'm expecting to be some really plump rolls, because there's 30 metres on a roll, so which are big rolls. So I was going to say a water tank. Hello Sue, but I don't know. Might be a bit bigger, or it might be as big as a water tank. I really don't know. But we shall see. What else did I? So, yeah. They've got some Tula Pink. I didn't, there was no Tula Pink that I said, oh yes, I've got to have that. But he's checking stock of that for me as well. You've got plump rolls. Yeah, I have too, Lindsay. Hello, Jules. Lovely to see you. Don't worry. I'm just having a little natter about what I've been doing today. So, yes, there was that. So that's taken me all afternoon. And then, of course, children pick up. And I've done a couple of sets of instructions. I'm on my third one, which I've just broken off now to come and give you a little demo. And what else did I do? And oh, I've put on the website, I did put, somebody asked, well, Eileen had put some lovely notebook covers on in the group, in the So Trisha Sews group, and they look really fab. And I think it was Jenny asked, was there a PDF? Well, yes, there is. So I've uploaded that today, but also I've uploaded, what did I do? Whatever. Oh, I think it was the joy wall hanging, or was it? No. Wasn't the joy wall hanging, whatever else I finished. So what else was I doing? Oh goodness, I am going absolutely brain dead. I've got the Christmas advent calendar, which I'm doing, the Christmas table runner, which I haven't done, and that I haven't done, and that I haven't done. Oh, I don't know, there's something else new that I put on there today, but I just go from one thing to another. I can't remember what I've done 5 minutes ago. So yeah, no, it wasn't that. I did something, it was really quite important, I felt. Whoops, now I've got my bit of wadding on the deck. So, shall we begin? Because we've only got about an hour. Good evening, Jane. And I've been waffling for 10 minutes, which is not too bad, is it? I can waffle for a good 45 minutes to an hour, as you know. So, I don't know, no, I don't think, I've shown you this, or have I? This is what we are going to show tonight. Looks a bit wonky, actually. Yes, Beverly's been saying the Christmas table centre kit. Lovely. Christine, I do need a break. I was expecting to have a break last week, but it didn't happen. It didn't happen. Why did I think it would? But there will have to be there will have to be a point in time when I do. But I'm already thinking ahead. Did I put the violin? No, I didn't, Lindsay. The problem being, we were going to. I was going to put the vinyl and some zips on, but they're such practical little patches. Yes, yes. So, you know, I've seen many of them, but I thought I will have a go. I did it the other night when I felt like it. I just thought, oh, I've got to make it. I've got to make it just to see how nice and easy they are. And got some little zips. Now you can do them with ordinary zips. And what I was going to do was put some little sets together so that you had the piece of vinyl and you had a zip as well, you know, just for quite a low price, but just so that you could have a go for yourself. The problem being, or it isn't a problem, oh yes, Eileen. All right, I did one ages ago, absolutely ages, yes. But I haven't done it for a while, and I think I've done this differently because I go to bed thinking, now how could I make that nice and easy? And, and it came to me. So that's why. But these zips, I can only get them in multicolour packs. So it would be a case of taking loads of photographs, putting loads of individual products, and I just hadn't got time to do that. So they will come at some point, and I'm going to see if I can get more, you know, like 100 of one colour from another supplier, but I can't find anybody at the moment. I've only got the one that sells me multicolour packs. So I may possibly, oh right, Eileen, oh I did then, oh my goodness. Right, well I'm doing it again now. I think I have done it a little bit differently anyway. Okay, so this is what we're going to make, and as you can see, whoops, there's my zipper there. Just open that up and you can see what you have in it. So I have in mind of making quite a few of these so that I can put machine feet in there, so I can put in everything that I want to see and know that they're all for one machine, because I get them muddled a bit wrong way. So this way. Okay. So the one I'm going to make tonight is slightly smaller. I think this was based on a 10-inch square with a 10-inch zip. I have got an 8-inch zip, I think, today. Yeah, I've got a smaller zip. So I've got 8, 10 and 12. Yeah, good refresher, absolutely. Right, so here we go. Actually, what I'm going to do is hang this. So apologies if I miss any comments, but I'm going to put that just there so that you can see what we're doing. So what I have is, and I was going to do that and I didn't. So we have, and you won't be able to see this, I have a piece of vinyl, and yeah, absolutely. So the rulers and templates would go in there. Can you see the vinyl? So the vinyl, the piece on this one is 8 by 6. We also have, oh, what I should start with, oh, I don't want 2 of those, I only want 1. So we have, I'm using some Macawa henna, I think, from the henna range. So we have one piece which is 8 inches square. We have a contrast fabric which is 4 inches by 8 inches. So that's going to go along the top. And we have, oh my word, I've just put 2 of the same thing. What I wanted to do, oh well, we'll have it both the same. I've got another piece of fabric downstairs. I've got 2 the same, so I'm going to have the same on the back as under the clear vinyl. So I've got 2 pieces that are 8-inch square, and I was going to have 2 different ones, but never mind. We're going to have one that we can see on the back and one that we can see inside the clear vinyl. So 2 pieces, 2 squares, 8-inch by 8-inch. We have a piece of wadding, and I've got Thermolam at the moment. I did use H640 or 630 in the other one. So I've got an 8x8 piece of thermolam, which will be fine. I have then got of contrast fabric, but you could do all these pieces in exactly the same, but I thought I wanted a bit of contrast. So I've got a 4x8 piece of the contrast, and I have a 3x8 piece. 1, 2, 3, yeah. So a 4x8 and a 3x8. Then I have a width of fabric that is 2 inches wide, and I have another piece of wadding which is 2 inches without pieces on. So the wadding is 2 inches by 8 inches. So there we go. And my zip is an 8-inch zip, but I'm going to trim it down because on that one that I've got made, I broke a needle. And I broke a needle because I had actually clipped off this metal bit at the end here, but there must have been a metal bit at this end. Well, I think there is a little one. I bet I hit, can you see those 2 metal bits there? Oh, was I annoyed. I was. It made this machine make the most, I never heard a noise like it before, and I thought, I've broken it. I've broken it. Hello, Jill. Oh, you're putting some Christmas Lego this evening. Oh, how lovely. So, yeah, just be careful where these little metal bits are. And it is also a good idea if you buy a longer one to actually chop it off at both ends. So I think I'm going to have a look when I put this together just to see how where that metal is, because I'm not doing it twice, I'm telling you. Oh, it was the 30th of April. Goodness. Right. So coming up, yeah, 18 months ago. Well, I never. So let us have a go. Let's see what we can do. I brought my fabric spray. So I'm going to dip you down. Hello, Vanessa. Never mind. We're only just starting. So let us bring this down here. See if that's okay. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to put a bit of spray. So I've got my 505. I do love my 505, but I like to hold, so it's this one here. I do stock it, and I've got some at the moment. I can't remember the price of it though. It might be £9 a can, something like that. So I'm just going to give a little bit of spray there. See, not very much at all. And I always spray onto the wadding. Hello, Sheena. Now, I may not always be able to see. You was a little bit out of my dates. Well, it's a while ago, isn't it? I've got everything that I talk about is before COVID or after COVID. And now we're in the after COVID period. Or I suppose it was during as well. So all I'm doing is just lining that up. When it's small squares like this, I don't mind. So this is where it's going to be very easy. We've got nothing too much, too much that's evil. Then I'm going to put my other piece on the other side. So actually, I tell you what would be great for this, and Barbara must love it because she uses a lot of it, and that is H650, which is in the H640 range. You know the H640 is a fusible interfacing, and H630 is a little bit, it's fusible as well, fusible wadding, sorry, but it is slightly thinner. Your H650 is double-sided. Oh, okay, Karen, no problem. Yes, H650 is double-sided. So you could actually fuse your wadding, sorry, your fabrics to both sides of your wadding if you used H650. HH650 it is, actually. So I think I'm going to have this side here as my, so can you see, here's my vinyl here. Now, what I'll say about vinyl, I have got some, not on the website, but I have got some. Obviously, through the post, it gets a little bit creased, crumpled. But the way, do not iron it as in put your iron onto the clear vinyl, which I know you wouldn't do that. But if you just hover, or I'll tell you what a good idea is. If you have a pressing mat or the ironing board, just iron onto the ironing board or the pressing mat, and then pop your clear vinyl onto it, and the heat will come up and it will actually smooth any wrinkles out of your clear vinyl. The other thing with clear vinyl for stitch length when you're stitching through it is don't use a small stitch. So what a small stitch will use, like a 1.8 or a 2, we use that for patchwork because it makes our fabric, it stitches it together perfectly without little gaps between. However, if you stitch with a small stitch in clear vinyl, it basically perforates it, and with any stretching or wear and tear, it will just create a hole. So a larger stitch, I would even go for a size 3 when we're stitching into vinyl, and that way it won't pull apart, but a small stitch is not good for clear vinyl. The other thing, and the way I've made this pouch up, vinyl, you could find that it sticks under your presser foot and doesn't move on the machine very well at all. So if you have a Teflon foot or a roller foot, that will help amazingly, or you won't have any risk of it sticking because it will allow the clear vinyl to just pass under your machine easily. Otherwise, you could put tissue paper underneath so that it goes through, but I've made this so that we're not actually stitching directly onto vinyl with vinyl on the underneath as well. So if I were to put that under the machine now, it probably would stick a little bit because this will stick to the needle bed, but that's why this is nice and easy to do. So what we're going to do, so I've put my wadding in between my 2 pieces of fabric. I'm just laying the vinyl, and I'll lose it, I know, onto the top so I don't lose it. Now I am going to take my, actually I'm going to get my pressing mat, so I'm just going to put this out of the way so that I don't lose it. Oh no, because I want my, well, let me put it here, that's it, because I've got to do a little bit of pressing. So I'm just going to get my prim iron, my little iron, along with the pressing mat, and I have got my, oh that's my wider one, so my wider one, my 4x8 piece, let's give that a little press because it's a little bit wrinkled, and this one is going to be at the top of the front of the pouch. And what we're going to do is we're going to fold that in half like so. So I can't see, I'm a little bit low down, so I'm going to stand up here. So I'm just lining that up so that those, oh, doesn't look very straight along there. Oh, that's better. So I'm just giving that a press along there, and then I'm going to put a piece of wadding, my 2" by 4" piece here inside. So I'll give that a little press there, or a little spray, and just lap that over. And what I might find is that I need to just trim that wadding off. So I've put wadding inside, and I might, no, that wasn't the side there. So just a teensy winsy bit, just so that that is all held together nicely. And then I'm just going to trim away just that excess wadding. I was cutting it in a hurry because even though I felt I was prepared, I hadn't got that done. So, and I don't think I switched the lights on either. So I've now got a little piece of wadding in between. So that's going to be the top of my my pouch. And then with my 3" wide, this one, we're going to make this into a little bit of bias binding. I want to say bias binding, of binding. So again, I'm just going to press that so that's nice and flat. And then I'm going to, like when I make a bag handle, I'm just going to line those raw edges up, and I'm going to press in half with wrong sides together. And then I'm going to open it out, and I'm going to fold that into the crease line. Is that my crease line? So I can't see that without standing up. Oh, that's it, not quite there. So I'm pressing it just like we do bag handles. And then the other side will come in to meet it, like so. like that. Give that a good press and then fold it over again. And that is going to be our edging for our vinyl. So, right, I think, right, so that piece is now pressed, and it's like a bit of bias binding, but it's not bias, it's just a straight piece of the tape. And then the other thing I'm going to do is, this is going to be our outer binding. So with this, we'll do this pretty quickly so that it's done. This is our 2-inch width of fabric, and this is going to bind my edge. So let's just pop this down, and you can see I'm just, oh, not very good view there, I don't think, but let's do it along this way. There we are. So I'm just ironing along there, and it would actually 4/8 of 32. Yeah, it does need a whole width of fabric. If you were doing the bigger one, I have a feeling I took a little bit more. That was 10, 20, or no, it might have just made it, because 10, 20, 30, 40, depending. Some fabrics are a little bit wider than others, and they may go even up to 44, and that extra little bit actually helps greatly. So I have folded in half my width of fabric, and I've pressed it just like we do for a binding. So I can set that aside for the time being, and then we will do our basic. So that's where I put. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my piece of clear vinyl, and along one of the 8-inch edges I am going to slip on my piece of binding. Now you can't see the vinyl very well, but if I go like that, now you can. So I've just put that on, so the vinyl goes right up to the top there. I think that's about right. But we will trim, and what I'm, if necessary, because we'll line it up in a minute. I'm just going to see if we can do that in a little bit. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stitch. Oh, that's it. Right. So I'm going to stitch. I'm going to. Oh, I've taken it right over there. So I'm going to stitch with a 3 as my stitch length, and I'm just going to stitch just fairly close, because what we've got the vinyl under there, and we're not going to put pins in. Well, you could if you wanted, binding clips to hold it if you like, but I'm just going to push this edge here so that I know that that's it. So I know that the actual vinyl is still in there. So I'm just pushing that right to the top. And I'm doing it in, I mean, it'd be really good to have a coordinating fabric, but you can then see, so I've stitched the whole way along there. So that has got an edge for us for our zip. So what I'm going to do now is, oh, and that's what I meant to bring. Now, what is a really good idea is to have some of your wash away tape, and I thought I had some in here, but I probably haven't. Wash away. No, I'm not actually going to put glue on there because I want wash away. So just have a look. So what you're going to see, that is going to go across there and across there. That's better. So that's going to go in there. Just while I run down, I won't be a moment. I am back. I knew I wanted something else. I used a little bit of basting glue. Thank you, Barbara. You're all on the ball. So what I've got is my wash away quilter's tape. This is great for when you're putting zips in. And on this occasion, only because I know when I did the other one, it slipped a little bit. And had I used what I wanted to use, it would have been fine. So, wash away tape is a double-sided tape. So it has one runner, and then this is sticky on both sides. So I'm going to put a bit of tape along the top here. And I know we're not going to wash this, so I'm just putting that there, and I'm actually going to just clip it. So I've got tape along the top, which is hard to see, and then with my other piece, so this is going to be the top of my bag, the top of the pouch there, but I've got the folded edge, which is coming down here. This is going to be around the outer edge, so the raw edges are at the outer edge. So I'm going to put my tape on here as well, so close to there. And then when I put my zip on, it's going to be held in place. So we've got no putting pieces right sides together with a lining on the back, outer fabric on the front. So what I'm going to do first of all, I'm just going to set this over here for a moment, because I'm going to work on this piece. So this piece is with the clear vinyl, and I'm going to take off my runner. So there you can see that tape there, and then I'm going to place this on, and I am going to make sure, in actual fact, what I'm going to do first of all is I'm cutting that end off, because I don't want that bit of metal that's there. So I will line this up here. So it is right on the edge, and here I'm just making sure, so we can make sure that's straight, because I think my other one is the tiniest bit wonky. And let's just have a look that way. That looks fine. Now I can see already that when I do my binding, because we're going to bind around this, I could very easily clip into there. So what I actually want to do, where's my tape going to go? Right, I want to, what do I want to do? I'm just going to take that off. I'm going to move it a little bit further, because I know I'm going to take it in just that little bit, because I know that that's better. So that metal is right on the edge. I'm looking on the other side, just lining that up, and then I can see if that's straight along there, and I can see it is. But that is held down nicely. And I say because I can't at the moment get those little metal bits out here. You see those little metal bits? My binding is going to come over there, but I can see now my binding is going to come. Yeah, I'm going to stop when it gets there, because I'm going to do a zigzag or a stitch. But what I would try and do is take those bits out. I've clipped that bit off. Now I'm putting my seam ripper in here. I'll end up. Oh, see, one could have taken that out beforehand, but so just lift that little metal bit out, and then, so if I break my nail now as well, but that is, I was there for a reason. It's there to stop the zipper pull coming off, but I don't want it. So I'm just trying to, yep, we are going. So just opening that up. It's, oh, that's gone. I put that in that little, so much better. Let's see if I can get this one out without. So I'm just using my, I wouldn't use a good seam ripper for this, but I am getting this one out as well. So we can, it's basically opening up that bit of metal, so it should come out very easily. Let's just do it the other way around. And that's coming. No, it's not. Okay. Yes, it is. It's a nasty little bit. There we are, gone. So now I have no metal bits there. So we're going to be fine. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to stitch along this edge. So as I normally do, I put there we are. I've got my needle right over. So put your zipper foot on, or like I love to do, I have got my needle position. I've moved it right over to 0. So it's as far as it will go that way. And I'm going to leave my stitch length at 3 because it's not a problem. But you can see how that is moving under my machine. I know I'm stitching through the vinyl, but it has got fabric underneath. So I am going to lift up. I'm just going to open the zip here because it won't still go past that. There we are. And then I'm just going to stitch off the edge. We can trim that bit later. So this is where I say the coordinating thread would be good. So I've stitched that on. That's gone through the back quite easily. That's why we wanted that fabric along there, so that it didn't stick to the machine. And you've got a nice little bit of contrast fabric there anyway. So the next thing we're going to do is we've got our other piece here with the tape on. And if you remember, it's the folded edge there, so it's nice and neatened. And I'm now going to take that strip off, and we're going to put the zip. I'll put it this way because it's easier to see. I'm going to put the zip on here in the same position so that I'm making sure my lines up. I'm making sure the edge here and the edge here lines up, and I'll just press it down because I can always lift it up again, but I'll just check on the back. I'm checking here to make sure that that is nice and straight. Yep. Yep, it just goes over there. Okay, so I can press that down there, and that's beautifully straight. You can see my vinyl is here. So again, I'm going to stitch down here. Now what I can do, I'm going to open my, whoops. Oh, I was going to open my zip. That's it. Open the zip a little bit. Perhaps I've gone over a little bit too far. No, that's fine. Okay, so just while I start my stitching, and then I will push the zip back a little bit. Okay, it's because it's got a rather nice pull on it. So just pull that back like so, and then we'll stitch across here. So merrily going across. So we're not actually stitching on vinyl there because we're sewing through fabric and wadding. Let's just make sure this opens nicely, otherwise, oh no, no, no. You see, that's what you don't do. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Let's see if we can get this back on. Oh. Trisha. Oh. Let's just see, hold that. Oh. Perfect. Right, now we'll perfect. So what I should do, I should stitch over there. So it's just, yeah, no, we're not too bad. Oh my goodness. Oh. So I pulled it apart, but now that I've got it back together, I'm going to stitch over here. And I should have done that before. So, you know, you try and do something where you don't break the needle. And what do? You pull the zip pull off. But we put it back together, no problem whatsoever. Could go off that end as well now, couldn't it? Because I've taken those metal bits off. Never mind. So we've got our two pieces together there. Now we need, where's our back piece? Here we are. Our front piece and our back piece. So what did I want? I might have that actually. So we'll have that piece there as our, let's just take that back out again, that's it. So I want that piece shining through. So I'm now going to put this onto my, there we go. So we'll put that onto the front with our vinyl here, and we will just align these edges. So I can see that needs to just come across a little bit. As I said, I now will do a little bit of trimming purely because I put that zip on, zip pull on, didn't I? And right, so I'm just pulling that across. So I'm lining this up. I've just got, there's a clip there, and I can see that. So I can put pins in this piece because it's purely wadding in there, but I'm not going to around here. Now I do need to move it across because, as I say, my zip here has gone on a little bit further across, so I do need to pull that across there so that I want my vinyl to line up. I don't want there to be a gap at one side, so my vinyl is lining up beautifully, and I've just pinned that there. I've got a little bit of excess at the bottom, but what I'm going to do first of all, I'm just going to cut this just so here, just so that it all lines up. So let's trim that down there, and what I'm doing really is trimming off that piece of fabric all the way down, and vinyl, so that it is, let's drop that little bit there. Okay, so that's better that side, that is fine. I'll make sure the zip is done right up. And what I'm going to do now, belt and braces, I'm going to stitch an 1/8 of an inch in all the way around the edge, because so I'm going up to my size 5, and I'm going to stitch across the bottom. We can trim away the excess vinyl afterwards, and it doesn't matter that we're stitching through this now, because so you can see it does move just a little bit. So because I haven't got a Teflon foot on there, but that's fine. So we've gone round, and now we're going up this side. So this is just holding all the layers together, so that nothing shifts when we're putting our binding on. And I may very well trim, because I can see that it's a little bit higher. So I'm just going all the way around the edge, because there'd be nothing worse than being right at the end and you find that the binding hasn't caught all your fabrics. So let's just make sure that is going in nicely. Whoops, it's not caught my vinyl there. Oh, I see, yes, I've got a little bit of excess vinyl there. Whoops. Right, so I stitched all the way around just to make that all, so it's all even. So here at the bottom, this is where there's some excess vinyl. So I'm just trimming that away, just so that we've got a nice straight edge for popping our vinyl, our binding on. So there's a little bit come over there. So we'll trim that, and I'll have a look. Now we can trim off these zip edge pieces. I'll just have a look from the back. You see it needs a little bit off around there, like so, and the rest is fine. So it's just there. So we just trim those off as well. So there I have the basis, and all we have to do now is pop on our binding. So how are we doing for time? Brilliant. Doesn't take long at all, does it? So I'm going to be at the side. So I'm going to do my stitch length back down to normal 3, and I'm going to leave a long end. So I'm going to do this like I would bind around the edge of a quilt, and use all those basics. So I'm leaving myself, because I want to make it easy, I'm leaving a fair bit here, probably 10 inches or so, something like that, 8 inches. And then I'm going to start down near the bottom, and we're going to 5.5, because I want a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Okay, so let's start stitching. So 1/4 inch, and I'm looking to stop a 1/4 inch from this end, pivot like so, and stitch off. So I've stitched into the corner to give me a diagonal, and then I'm going to pull that to my right, and I'm going to look to see, this is what I do with any binding, nice straight line, so I know my binding is right, and then I'm going to bring it over to the left, flatten so that the fold lines up with this edge here, pivot around, just throw that out of the way, and then start stitching right from the edge again. So 1/4 inch seam allowance, and I'm just going straight across here. Now there's no problem with the vinyl now, purely because, where are we? Actually I didn't do it like, no I did it, I doubled it over, but never mind. Right, and then I'm going to stitch 1/4 inch away. I'm going to stitch into that diagonal like so, and then I'm going to pull the binding over to the right, straight line, fold it back, flatten down at that corner, fold is on the edge, and we will start stitching again. So I'm going to move my zip pull out of the way because I don't want it to be anywhere near where I'm stitching, and just hold that down, and we will stitch with our 1/4 inch seam allowance up to 1/4 inch away from the corner, pivot diagonally into that corner, pull my binding to the right, flatten it, take it over to the left, flatten the fold, and pop that under again, like so, and stitch along here. We're on the very last corner now, so we are almost there. 1/4 inch away, into the diagonal, and then over to the right and fold it over. So flatten that down and stitch from, make sure that is on the edge there, that's it, stitch down. I suppose it's a bit of a busy pattern. Right, so I'm not going to do too far because I want to do my join in here, and I'll tell you what I did do for a join, that's okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to join this easily because I don't want anything that's too much like hard work. So on this end here, this was the first end, I should have done this to begin with. I'm going to open that out like so, and I am going to cut a diagonal. So I've cut a diagonal line there, and then I'm going to fold that over. I would normally probably press it, but I'm going to nail press a little bit, 1/4 inch or so to the wrong side, and then fold it back again. So from the back you can see it's like that. So you've got a diagonal edge there, and oh, that's a bit high up, isn't it? Okay, we'll do that again. So let's take it a little bit down. I don't want it as far up as that, so I'm going to do it down here. Let's do, that's it there. So again, I'm just nail pressing about 1/4 inch to the wrong side, and then I'm going to lay that down. And what I'm going to do with this end, I'm just going to trim that off. I'm going to tuck it in between here. I'm going to tuck it in there. So you just want to make sure that where you cut it off to, let's say there, is going to go in. So we're going to open that bit up like so. Whoops. I've opened this up, and then I'm going to lay this in. Okay, I'm going to use a clip. So I'm laying that into my fold. And actually the other thing I'm going to do, because I don't want it to push that out, I'm going to trim a little bit of this away. So I've trimmed on that raw edge, just so that when I put this inside, it doesn't push the folded edge out. So let's just see, that has got that in like so. And then I'm going to flatten that piece down so the binding all fits together. The raw edge is inside. So I've got my raw edge here on the straight piece, and I'm just laying that in, and I am going to put me a binding clip just to hold that together. So I'm popping that inside, and then I'm covering the outer one there. There it is. So there's my binding clip. So that's holding that all together, and then I'm just going to flatten that bit down, which is my diagonal line, and I'm just going to carry on stitching the whole way down here. So just hold that too. I can take that out now because that is all nicely contained there. So I'm just now stitching up to where I'm leaving that fold. I don't want to stitch on there, but I've I've now got that all nicely joined there. So that isn't joined like we normally do, but you can't actually see. So all I'm going to do now, I'm going to fold this over to the back like this, all the way round. Just fold it to the back. I'm not going to press like I normally do because we've got clear vinyl. So I'm going to push this. Oh, there's a bit of fabric in there. So you could go round and put binding clips all the way around. But what I am now going to, so I'm just folding my binding to the back. And this is where it would be nice if it were a contrast. And I'm going to do a decorative stitch along here so that I don't have to do a neat straight stitch and then it goes in the wrong place on the front, where here is my clear vinyl there. So we are stitching from the back, and let me just see, I'll see if I can find, oh, let's do one of those. So I am going to do a this is a stretch zigzag, and I'll just stitch on here, see if it works. So best to test out first, because you don't, oh actually that's not too bad, you don't want the stitch to be too big, but I'm going to lengthen, oh no, that's out. That's it, let's see what that one looks like. So as I say, I am testing out a not a straight stitch, a decorative stitch. So this is, yes, it's a zigzag. I'm going to do it on something that you can actually see. So let me stitch some on this brown. So this stitch is a stretch zigzag. And what I want to do is, so I've made it a little bit bigger. So it's got 3 stitches within that, but it's sort of quite nice as a stretch stitch. Normally used for stitching onto elastic, but I'm going to use that as my decorative stitch around the outside. So, and what I'm going to do is keep my, so I'm just folding that over, and I'm going to watch where my stitch is going, and I'm going to stitch as far over to this edge here as I possibly can. So let's see here. Okay. So let's see. I'm watching where. Oh no, I don't want to go too far that way. So I'm making it go more to this edge here. So the outer edge, because I want that to go to the outer edge rather than into this part, so that I don't get stitching on the actual clear vinyl. Now another little tip is what I do when I get to this corner here, I pull that down flat and then I put my seam ripper in there into that fold so that I can push that up. It's very difficult because my fingers get in the way, but I've got my seam ripper in there. It just allows me to push that. I should have another cameraman, shouldn't I? So having got me a mitre there, I'm then going to stick my seam ripper into it, into the fabric, and I'm watching. I'll probably hit my needle on the seam ripper now. So there we are. So I didn't really want it to go back that way. That's it. So now I'm going to pivot and come down here. So again, I'm just putting that over, and then hopefully that will start coming out. And as I say, I'm stitching near to that edge and just pull that next bit over. So I'm trying to cover up the straight stitching. Move down here, and probably not the best fabric to show you because it's so decorative. you can't see the stitching anyway. So again, I've pulled this piece of fabric, this binding, down and flattened it, and then I put the edge of my seam ripper onto it just to give it a little bit of just to make it taut, and then I fold up the mitre, poke my seam ripper into the mitre to hold it there, and then with the decorative stitch it will go over the top of it. I moved it there, and right, so then I'm just going to move that round and we'll see where our stitching goes. That's it. So I'm just going to try and push that a little bit because it's bulky into that corner because I've got so many folds. But now I'm just whizzing around here like so, and I'm coming up to this other end here. We've only got 2 more to go, and pull that over, keep on stitching until we get right up to this end. You can see too much of my chunky fingers, I think. So pulling that over, and this is where I say I pop the side of the seam ripper down there and then pull the binding up so that it meets that side that we're just stitching down. Put the seam ripper into it and then just keep stitching until it gets somewhere near that binding. It's unlike a straight stitch where the straight stitch it hits it, but this one doesn't because it's a zigzag. It's going past it. So I'm just going to push that along a bit just to keep that going, and then pull that binding over. So that bit of binding is where we joined it. So it's just a little bit thicker there, and I'm just pulling that across. Just stitching down there, pull that binding over, and you could, if you wanted to, go back into this and stitch where we overlapped the binding, but we've done a zigzag over it, so it is going to be well and truly held in place anyway. And I'm just coming up to that last one here, so pull that down, pull that edge up like so. I mean, you could do a straight join if you wanted to, no problem at all, but I like my bias ones. I'm just waiting till I break my needle on the on the seam ripper. So there we go. Right, let's keep that going, pulling that out there. Just coming up to where we started, and end. Okay, so just pull those out just a little bit of thread there. See if we've got thread on that side. Oh, that's a little bit, that's where we started. So just trim that off. A little bit there, a little bit there, a little bit here. But at least I didn't break my needle, did I? Oh, let's see, that's it. Okay, we have finished. We have finished. Oh, so there is a nice elegant. Here is, oh, I think we're a bit far in. Oh, that's better. Oh, can't be too far in, can we? So here we have the henna there. Am I zipping that up? I am zipping that up. But there is our vinyl pouch. Easy way, that's it, put it there. Easy way of being able to stitch a zip onto the vinyl because we've got that bit of binding we put at the top of the vinyl. We've got a little bit of wadding in here just to make that. That's it. I keep holding it. I think the camera's a little bit. Whoops, that's better. That's better. So there is. Here is the zigzag stitching. Can you see here? So oops. There, that's it. So there's the zigzag stitching all around the edge, but it just means you can stitch from the front to the back. Oh, a bit of thread there. And it's gone a little bit wonky, but Just makes it nice and simple. So there is the henna one, nice and easy. So there is perhaps a little bit more elegant, refined, but I shall use things to put in here, and as I say, quite nice and easy, not too much fabric, just your zips. If you wanted to do the same, or you could do the same with just an ordinary zip, and what I would do with that is I would put, you know, when we had, oh, let's go with this one, this piece here, and the fold was under here, so the fold of the fabric was here. So you just put your zip under there, and you would stitch along the top still, but the zip tape would be under here. So you could still make it with just your ordinary zip. It's just that's just nice and easy, and with lots of different zip colours, you've got variety for using your fabrics up. So, oh, we are dead on 7:30. 5:30, what am I talking about? Dead on 5:30. Question, could you use bigger backing fabric and use? Absolutely, Maria, absolutely. It did cross my mind, and I should have done that. Yep, you could. So, yeah, if you want to use a bigger backing fabric, so rather than this was 2 8-inch squares, if you were to do, and I'd probably do a wider one this time, so an 8-inch square for this bit that's under here, and the backing piece I would do, because we usually put 2, I put 3 inches on, so I would do it an 11-inch square on the 8. So the 8 would sit in the middle, you'd have 1.5 inches extra this side, 1.5 the other, top and bottom, and then just use your mitre tool and bind it just like we do the mug rugs. So, yeah, because I don't see any of the questions. Thank you, Lindsay, for pointing that out. I can't see all the questions as I've got the camera pointed down at the machine quite badly at times. Anyhow, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I hope you've enjoyed this, and I am sure that you will give it a go and make a few more for yourself. But it is nice and straightforward. And, oh, thank you, Sheena. So, tomorrow, yeah, I've got things to do, but tomorrow I will be here at 4:30, and with is it 3? Week 1, week 2, I think it must be week 3 of the mystery quilt. So, do you have those zips? Not yet, Caroline. I will do. It's just a time thing at the moment. I'm meant to get them here for today, but I haven't. Yes, must be careful with the iron near the vinyl. So, no iron when you've got the vinyl. No iron, no ironing. All it is with the iron and the, thank you, Jackie, if your vinyl is creased, iron your ironing board or your pressing mat, and then pop. Oh, Vanessa, you are so clever yourself. So, the heat from the pressing mat or your ironing board, lay your vinyl on it, and that will just smooth it all out. So there's no worries there. So, thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to have my dinner. Oh, thank you, Pat. Enjoy your evening and tomorrow, and I'll see you tomorrow. You've got some spare lag cake? Absolutely. Depends on the size of your zip, but there's other things with that. I'm just thinking, yeah, you could do that as well. You meant using the mitre tool. Yeah. Yeah, I'm thinking there, Lindsay. Be careful of the iron when using your mitre tool. Oh, exactly. When you're folding your binding over. Absolutely. Yes. Get what you mean. Getting weary now. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you tomorrow at 4:30. Bye for now.